Hello. What's going on here? Bus wants to get on the A14. Actually, let's get in front of you all. Perfect. Tried out the new mic again today, and I just felt like going for a spin. Wanted to film a video, and I thought I'd do it about sort of our bike plans, because we've had some questions, and I think obviously if you're not fully aware of the different licensing things, either you're not in the UK or you passed your test before the new licenses came in, you might not know why we do things a certain way or why we're doing things a certain way. So I thought I'd just like talk through it, because we've had a lot of new people on the channel since we first started, and I was talking about sort of what we're doing with our A license and that kind of thing. Hello, speed van. So first things first, we, as in both me and Katie, have A2 licenses, which means we can ride any bike up to 47 horsepower. I've currently got a Ninja 250, which is 32 horsepower, and Katie's CBR300 is very similar to that. There's a couple of reasons why we started on small bikes. One of the main things being cost, because a lot of A2 bikes, and particularly new ones, and obviously it is partly my fault that I like the newer bikes, and so I'm not helping myself with the choices here, but a lot of A2 bikes are pretty expensive, not only to actually just buy, but also to insure. Like, it's crazy money, some of the stuff. So at least for the first year of my insurance, it's going to be this bike, because anything bigger was just stupid money to insure, and it just makes more sense that if I want to get a bigger bike while still being on A2, I would get a year of no claims discount under my belt first and bring that price down quite a lot. So there's number one. Also, the whole thing about the A2 licenses, so we started riding when we were 21, so we have to spend 2 years on our A2 license before we can upgrade to A. There is a way. Someone asked, like, are you 21, and if so, why don't you just go for your full A license? You can get a full A license if you're 21, but only if you got your A2 at 19. So that's why there's a reason why we don't have our A license, because we can't get it yet, and it's really annoying, but it is what it is. This video might just turn into a ramble of me hating on the A2 license, because I do think it is stupid the way the licensing is set up. I don't mind the different restrictions, but personally it's the fact that we have to retake the same tests just on different bikes to unlock these different licenses. Like, take my brother for example. He started riding when he was 16, and he did his A1 license because he needed to be able to take a passenger. Then he did his A2 license as soon as he turned 19, and he's going to have to do his A license when he turns, like, 2 years after that, when he turns 21. That's basically the route to go if you want to get the big bike the earliest. What it means is he has to do these mod 1 and mod 2 tests a minimum of twice, but he's also done 3 times because he needed that A1 license as well. Some people say the A1 license is pointless, and it kind of is if you are able to get something bigger, but when the A1 is the only license you can get and you need to go on the motorways or you need to carry a passenger, then that's what it's there for. So we have 2 choices right now. We stay on these bikes for 2 years until our A license, or when we get a year of no claims discount on our insurance and some insurance prices of larger bikes becomes a bit more appealing, we upgrade. Current plan is that second one, because I do love this bike, but it can feel underpowered at times, and I'd like to be able to take my A license tests on my own bike, which requires me to have one that suits those requirements, because it's got to be a minimum of 595 cc's and a couple of other things. So I've got that to take into account. Currently I think my number one spot for a bike is a Ninja 650, just because I love the Ninjas, can you tell? And it's quite good for someone my size. It can be restricted for A2 obviously, and then it can be unrestricted for A. Yes, I know it's not the most powerful bike you can get on A2, and we are also considering the Honda CBR300R, which is one of the most powerful A2 bikes you can get. So there's the current plan. The other option is obviously to stay with this bike for the full 2 years. And really, upgrading bikes depends on finances, doesn't it? Like, I mean, I've done quotes for insurance and it does drop by a third, depending on if I have 0 or 1 year's no claims discount. But also, actually, the cost of the bike is quite considerable because, again, these A2 bikes, most of them are not cheap unless you go old. So far, people have commented different things. You know, some people think we should upgrade when we can, and others say stick with it and save up for a big bike. To be honest, if I was able to buy a Ninja 650 at the end of this year, when I go to sell that bike, I'd probably end up making a profit. Like, if I go for an old style ZX6, I can get one of them for like $2,000 on Marketplace. Ninja 650s retail for like 4. So almost saving up for that bike isn't really needed because I just use the money I'll get from the sale of the other one. But again, that's subject to change, obviously, because bikes change in value. It also depends on whether I see myself dailying a ZX6, because that is the big bike I want to get, or whether I would keep something like a Ninja 650 as a more of a commuter bike. So I honestly don't know yet. I'd be interested to hear if anyone else has been in a similar boat with these new licenses. What did you do? Someone commented actually earlier saying they were basically doing the same as us. They wanted a Honda 500, I think, but it was just stupid money to insure until they got a year. So they're going to get a 300 and then look at upgrading after the year. The most annoying thing about all of this is obviously motorcycling is getting harder and harder for young people to get into because of the money aspect mainly. And also because of the amount of loopholes we have to jump through to get the right license. Well, not necessarily loopholes, just the amount of time we have to wait. Whereas if I was a couple of years older, I could do a direct access course in literally a week. And then I'll be on whatever bike I want. You know, whereas someone like my brother, who has been riding since he was 16, will have to wait until he was 21 to do that same thing. And again, you get the restrictions, you understand why they're in place, but you can't help but feel like it's mostly a money-making thing, having to make us retake the tests. Because I took my driving test a couple of years ago, and I can ride whatever bike I want. I can drive whatever car I want, you know? I think I can drive up to a 7.5 ton truck. I would not trust me to drive a 7.5 ton truck, but my license allows me to do that. But I passed my test in a Ford Fiesta. Like, it doesn't make sense. If they wanted it to just be about restrictions, it would be the same as cars. So it does make you think it's mostly about money, because if it was purely about restrictions, yeah, you might still have the tiered licenses, but my license would just automatically upgrade after 2 years, rather than make me do the same test I did 2 years ago, just on a different powered bike. And it's not just about the power of the bike, because what if I took my test on, let's say, my Ninja 650, and then I go and get an R1? They don't handle the same. So it's not about whether the bike handles differently depending on the restrictions. A cruiser would handle differently to a sport bike, so it's really not about that. Unless the people that set these things up have no idea about bikes, which could be quite a big possibility, you know. Insurance companies don't seem to know much about bikes anyway. So I suppose if the question is, why are we on the bikes we're on? Main thing is we like these bikes, you know, we chose them because they felt right. They have a decent amount of power to learn on. However, it's mainly because the options right now are quite limited, even within the A2 market. I can't get insured on half the A2 bikes because insurance companies just don't like us. But if insurance companies don't like A2 riders riding A2 bikes, then who do they want to ride A2 bikes? It does not make any sense. So yes, I would be interested to know what other people have done in this similar situation, because I'm sure there are others watching this that are either planning on doing the same, as in like selling after 1 year and upgrading to an A2 bike that can be unrestricted for A, or if you're now at the A license but you went through a similar thing then let me know. I don't know how long these license things have been in place, and I know there are proposals to change it, which I'm really hoping happens. Hello, giraffe. Oh, massive bug splat on the visor. It didn't take long, did it? Fun fact, this was actually my test route. It's quite a nice one, actually. If you're in Kettering and you get the Pikesleep route, apart from one little dodgy junction, it's a pretty nice route. Loads of country roads that tend to be quite quiet. So anyway, the plan. The A license will be taken 2 years after we had got our A2. So for me, that will be November 2025. And for Katie, that will be January 2026. On whichever bikes we choose. It might be we choose something that still isn't restricted, and we just, because there's so many people in my family that ride bikes now, there'll be one that we could use as long as we can get the right insurance on it. So I don't know, I like the Ninja line. I would absolutely love a ZX4, but they are well out of budget because I like the modern bikes, as we already know, and I wouldn't even be able to get insured on a brand new bike. I'm not even going to try. So the two Ninja options for me would be the 400, which is a little jump up from this. I'd still see the difference in power, but I feel like the 650 would be more sensible if I can get something within budget, whatever budget that would be at that time. But if the money's not there to buy a whole new bike and insure it because the insurance hasn't gone down enough, then I'll stick with Noxie for 2 years. Katie's looking at the similar sort of stuff, so she's on the CBR300R, and the next suitable bikes for her in that sort of design would be the CBR500R or the 650R. Again, depending on whether she wants one that you don't have to restrict for A2 or one that you would restrict and then unrestrict for A license. So that's an insight into what our plans are and the troubles of being a young rider. I can't complain, my brother has it worse. This exhaust sounds good. For absolutely no reason. If you haven't already, please subscribe, because we're getting close to 2,000 subscribers. How cool is that? And also go and follow us on Instagram at Tiptoe Bikers, because again, we're getting close to 10,000 views, 10,000 followers, which again is just really cool. So as always, we appreciate the support, we appreciate the comments, and if there's any other videos you'd like to see in the future, then let me know, because obviously we film these duo videos and then we also film these solo videos like this one. So if there's a particular topic, it might be one of us chats about it on a solo video, or if you're just here to watch us mess around on bikes, then the duo videos are for you. So yeah, subscribe, go and watch some of the other videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.